Hello everyone, welcome back to the Keevee channel. World War II shooters are a tale as old as time. We all have our favourite, but it's fair to say that the market is heavily oversaturated. Battlefield 5 shocked alternate history fans by collaborating with CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077. Gaijin Studios Enlisted proved to fans that if only Hitler had access to his mother's credit card, Germany could have won the war. And Paradox Interactive stands as the only true container of weaponized autism. What's my favourite World War II shooter? Well, it's not the one we're talking about today, it's this one. Day of Defeat is a team-based multiplayer shooter which was originally developed as a mod for Half-Life. Similar to Counter-Strike, Valve bought the idea from the developers and published it as a standalone title in 2003. Since its release, the game has seen updates in the fuck-all variety, meaning that over the years the player base has dwindled and slowly fallen into abandonware status, with most of the community doing the heavy lifting these days. Before we get into it though, it's an old game and that means that you might have a hard time getting it to play nice on your machine. Before you open it, I suggest going into Properties, General, then Launch Options. Change the launch protocol to Window No Border. This is going to enable borderless windowed, which makes alt-tabbing and multitasking in general much easier when you're running the game. There were several visual bugs that I had no real way of fixing, only by leaving and rejoining the server. The last major issue I faced was on a few occasions my mouse would randomly switch to controlling my player, moving it forward and backward. Alt-tabbing usually fixed this problem, but I had no idea what caused it, and it cost me enough kills to be frustrating. Day of Defeat plays a lot like Battlefield's Conquest. Two teams fight to capture and maintain control of various points on the map, and the first team to hold all of them wins. This is where the problem starts. Day of Defeat is a pretty hardcore first-person shooter, and so are the people who play it. Most matches have no set timer, and most players are unemployed. This creates the perfect storm for matches that last way longer than they ought to be. You will log in at 2 PM on a Tuesday and find grown men roaring at each other in fake German accents. You log back in at 5 PM and those same people are still playing, attacking the same street corner. You may as well uninstall, because no matter how much you play this game, you will never be as good as Peter, 50, senior developer at Dell, who gets to play with his buddies for an hour every night after he puts the kids to bed. If you want to join a server with a particularly active voice chat, be friendly, apologise if you team kill, and communicate with the team. It's hardly an unfriendly community, just a small and dedicated one. Just like the average conscript, I'm really shit at handling my weapons. Day of Defeat tries to promote realism by slowing down the game and offering up a minimal HUD. Gameplay feels very similar to Counter-Strike, incentivizing fewer well-placed shots over running and gunning. Any weapon that's automatic is going to kick like a mule, and the time to kill is so high that a single headshot from any weapon has the capacity to turn you into one of the 6 million. This is something you will come to learn as you become acquainted with the various fun, balanced character classes, which varies slightly depending on whether you're playing as an American, German, or if you're sadistic, British. The Rifleman is the most beginner-friendly class. Each nation receives a very powerful and very accurate semi-automatic rifle, capable of swiftly team-killing your squad mates. The German Kar 98 rifle is slightly more deadly, however, the time it takes to rebolt your weapon balances it out against the American carbine. Staff Sergeant is very similar to the Rifleman, with more of an emphasis on short-range combat. This is a bit reductive, considering that these kits are substantially weaker than the Rifleman's, with very little to make up for it. The Master Sergeant is a class that is completely useless 90% of the time, and the other 10% of the time instrumental to the outcome of the match. The Master Sergeant's weapons are both effective at close ranges, but that's a gameplay style that's heavily punished in the meta. The British Master Sergeant uses the Sten gun, arguably the coolest weapon to ever exist. Around the time the British were getting fucked sideways at Dunkirk, they were also getting fucked by price gouging from American weapons manufacturers. One American Thompson cost about $200 to import, and Churchill needed to save money so he could kill more Indian kids. The solution? The Sten gun. A modern, versatile and inexpensive machine gun. It cost roughly $11 to produce. It was the second most produced submachine gun of the war, and aside from the fact that it would sometimes discharge for no fucking reason, it was pretty reliable. Where were we? Oh, fuck yeah. Hey retard, watch this montage.
Yeah, baby. I want you to be mine.
Connection with the Jewish question. Oh my God! Oh! Triple kill!
Fuck the machine gunner. If you play the machine gunner, you're a little bitch. Crouching down behind the alleyway, I see you. Well, actually, I don't, because I'm dead. But fuck you. I hate the machine gunner so fucking much, I need to play another game.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Yes, this game has a sequel. Day of Defeat Source was the sequel to Day of Defeat, which was published 2 years later in 2005. It served as a total engine port from the Gold Source engine to Source, and much like its older brother, received very little post-launch content. So, what's different and what's the same? Well, the engine is totally different. The original Day of Defeat ran on the Gold Source engine, the same engine as Half-Life. Day of Defeat Source works on, well, the Source engine. This means a more polished looking game with higher resolution textures, more realistic lighting, and an environment that is more detailed overall. Many updates to the physics engine as well, throwing grenades, crouching, sprinting, it all feels more fluid. As well as that, the audio got a pretty big jump in quality. The main changes lie in how Day of Defeat Source diverges from the hardcore vision of the original. In Day of Defeat, everything is much slower and much more precise. Day of Defeat Source, on the other hand, is a much more arcadey experience, with more forgiving handling and faster paced gameplay. Day of Defeat Source introduced ADS for several weapons, including the rifleman, which I'm not quite sure how to feel about. While Day of Defeat feels like World War II Counter-Strike, Day of Defeat Source feels more like World War II Team Fortress. I personally preferred the original. Considering the technical limitations of the time, it did a lot more with what it had. Something about Source feels unfinished and hollow compared to the original. Exploring Day of Defeat 20 years later has been an interesting adventure. And as always, the Steam link for it will be in the description below should you choose to purchase it. I hear that the North American servers are not nearly as active as their European counterparts, but it's still a fun time wasted with friends. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.